But anyway, the thing I was waiting for was the 5-minute match between Gunther and Gable. And have you looked up Williams yet?
No, I have not. Williams?
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Last did not remember the famous, the infamous, the wonderfully historic Gunther Gable Williams.
That's right. This is a correct statement. I did not know who that was.
And I can't believe now you haven't looked him up to
You told me who it was. You answered my question. Who is that?
He is one of when I was a kid, the great animal trainer. He trained the lions and the tigers and the bears. Oh my. He was at the circus. He was he was in all the commercials. Gunther Gable Williams. He was even on other television.
Sorry, I don't know the animal trainers from the 1930s. Next time I'll study up on them. Famous animal trainers. Oh,
I said television, not radio.
I meant 40s.
All right.
Late 40s.
Anyway, so Gunther is brilliant. We've established that. And now I will call Shoosh Boy Chad Gable, because apparently now they have somehow decided that they're going to give this guy another chance to actually do something instead of be the biggest joke in the company. He's a great athlete. He's the one that had the matches in NXT with FTR, with him and Jordan.
American Alpha.
Yes. But unfortunately, I don't know whether he pissed in Vince's post toasties or what he did to deserve what he's had to do, but they've made him meaningless. And this is, who knows is this a chance to rehabilitate him, or is this just something they're going to do for 1 week? I don't know. But anyway, apparently the people are getting to like him because they feel sorry for him or something. Because I don't know why they would be liking what's been presented, but is it a sympathy thing for this guy who deserves better? Kind of maybe LA Knight got some sympathy for having to be Max Dupree, which was the only thing that was maybe worse than this.
I think somehow where we were focusing on all the stuff that was semi-serious, or in Cody's case, serious stuff, the comedy stuff got over with their fans. Because that's all it was. They were doing the comedy segment every show and the comedy feud. And somehow it turned into the fans getting behind them.
Well, in whatever reason, hopefully this is the start of something better and no more shooshes. I don't know. But Gable's great as an athlete. And Gunther is perfect, as we've said, at working with anybody of any different size, and selling or reacting appropriately, registering whatever. And Gunther was controlling this for the first 2.5 minutes, right, out of the 5, because he's bigger and he's stronger. And they were doing nice wrestling. Gable has a great bridge, right, wrestler's bridge. And then he started having Gable fight back from underneath a bit. Gable sold great. And then finally Gunther goes for the powerbomb with a little over a minute left, and Gable rolled out of it and got the ankle lock, and then started a little comeback. But he got caught in a fucking sleeper, and they've got 20 seconds left, so they're timing this perfectly. And then Gable is fading. But at 10 seconds, Gunther switches around, goes for the powerbomb, but Gable fights out, and both of them take the bump over the top rope, and Gable slides in, the time runs out, and Gable wins the thing. Which he won, but obviously didn't beat Gunther, didn't pin him, but he won the thing.
He lasted the 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And the place went crazy.
Because that was obviously not what Gunther had wanted, and pomposity has gotten the piss taken out of it.
If we could stop for 1 second, between the backstage promo and beyond the match, the time in between the match and the restart, Gunther, his facial reactions, his tone on the mic, we always talk about him in the ring, but he's nailing everything else.
Yeah, he is who he is purported to be. He understands how to project that. And, you can't really find any point in a match where he doesn't have the right expression on his face, or he's not registering what's happening the right way. And that's what Gunther now, he wanted more time. And, I think they probably they restarted it a little easily, a little quickly in terms of, without some type of, conversation amongst everybody at ringside, like, what do we do? What do we do? But otherwise, they restart the thing and then they go to the break. And I'm like, fuck, I want to see this. Don't go to the fucking break. But anyway, that's obviously the feeling that they want people to have, but it would be wonderful if they let something actually fucking register when this guy's getting over. But he's still getting over. He's getting over with people in the building. Anyway, when they come back, again, Gable's still fighting from underneath, but every time Gunther will hit one of those fucking chops, they're bam. But then Gable, when he'd have an opportunity, started working on Gunther's arm. Maybe, try to get a fucking submission. And they did a nice superplex off the top that he gave Gunther, and both of them sold. And then there was Germans going on. Gable, I think he did two of them, but one of them, he picked Gunther up and just bridged him over. It was tremendous. Several 2 counts, back and forth. And then Gunther finally just leveled him with about 3 chops and hit the powerbomb 1, 2, 3. So obviously that was what they had to do. They're trying to make Gable, but they can't go insane and beat Gunther. And they got to protect that powerbomb. But it shows what Gable can do. And I don't what the fuck? Have they just now figured this out? Is it too late?
I don't think it's too late. If they continue in this tone next week and the week after, if Otis all of a sudden starts slowly dropping the comedy elements that are over the top, he's another guy with legit credentials. These guys go back. Then it's not crazy. And it would be nice to see him get a chance here. If you're WWE and you're booking next week's show, what does Gable come out and do? What does he say about it? Is it, because it's not I beat you within 10 minutes or something. It's I lasted 5 minutes, but then you beat me. So what exactly does he say in terms of wanting a rematch because he showed he could last the 5, but not the 10? I mean, what do you say?
Well, first of all, I think we're done with the shoosh, at least in terms of being used to antagonize the audience, because now that they're taking to them somewhat, they want him to be, the fans to like him and to be a babyface. He might come out sometime and say shoosh to the fucking heels, and then it'll get a big pop. But he's got to come out and say, hey, Gunther's acting like he won or he proved his point. I proved my point. He said that he couldn't, or that I couldn't last 5 minutes with him. And I said I could. And I did that. I didn't say I could beat him. I didn't even say he couldn't beat me. I did frame it that way. But at the same time, that's when, if you wanted to continue it, then that maybe that's why they're building Kaiser Wilhelm up. Because, all right, well, then you say, well, look at here, if you can beat, or if you can last 10 minutes with Kaiser Wilhelm, then I'll give you another chance to blah, blah, or something, and continue it that way, so you're not just doing it every week. But yeah, Gable has to come out and crow about it.
Then you have the heel shush him, and he slaps the heel.
There you go. And then they have a stipulation where the loser has to sit down and watch Model Girl wrestle.
You know what the problem, too, is? You just presented a scenario. I'm thinking of scenarios. It seems like based on what they did on Raw, WWE would think there was more in the tank for this whole thing. I'm interested to see where this will go. I'm not interested in Gunther and Drew McIntyre. Isn't that the match at SummerSlam?
Yeah, and you know what? Even the fans on Twitter, since we've mentioned that, they can't really figure out what's the matter with Drew either. Just been around and nothing new. Oh, well. At this point, there was 50 minutes left into the show. We'd already been past 2 hours to get to that point, and I remembered I had to rub Harley's belly. Did I miss anything else? Was there anything of note?
I wouldn't say anything of note other than I thought the Becky Lynch confrontation with Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark leading to Pierce having a thing backstage with Trish and Zoe. I thought that was good, but I liked that a little bit more than you in terms of the actual feud.
Well, as a matter of fact, come to think of, I was zipping past a little bit of that. I thought I was actually watching Me TV and an old episode of Petticoat Junction.
Come on. The color is much better on this show.
And no, the color was better back in the 60s. It was all pastels. Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares. It is time to relax at the junction. Lots of girls, you bet. And even more when you get to the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about when I saw Pierce and Trish and Zoe. I thought about Petticoat Junction.
Well, Adam Pierce looks a little bit like Uncle Joe, who's a moving kind of slow at the junction.
All right. Well, I thought that was a good segment, and you didn't watch the main event, and I kind of didn't care for it either. So that was Raw.
There you go.
That was a very Raw.